Well, thanks so much for having us today. I'm Stephanie Hahn, and I'm joined by my colleague, Kim Rousseau. And we're really excited to share our SDG business solution concept, a collaborative approach to sustainable 5G. So just to set the stage, if you're not familiar with TELUS, we are a Canadian telecommunications company. We have $16 billion in annual revenue and 16 million customer connections spanning our business, which includes mobile phone services, home services, so that includes telephone, internet, television, and home security. On the business side, both business connectivity and IT solutions. And then at the bottom there, healthcare technology. TELUS Health is Canada's leader in digital health technology. And a new area of business for us is TELUS Agriculture, which offers digital solutions across the food value chain. So now that you're familiar with our industry, just to kind of look at the bigger picture, overall the impacts of the communications and technology industry is quite diverse when you look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our impacts range from health to economic growth to responsible consumption, but the one SDG we wanted to call out was Goal 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. As you can see in the chart on the right, currently, from a greenhouse gas emissions perspective, our current global industry emissions is about 3 to 4%, but that's anticipated to rise significantly over the next 20 years to 14% due to increasing data traffic and digitization. And so, given the fact that our business is grounded in connectivity, our social impact is focused on using our technology to create meaningful change. And we have 4 priorities for where we are driving impact. The first is really about ensuring all Canadians have equal access to the technology they need to thrive. The second is about expanding TELUS Health and improving access to TELUS Healthcare. In terms of caring for the environment, we're really focused on creating a sustainable future through our operations as well as through our products and services. And then the last is about building stronger communities where we have the privilege to live and work. And so you'll see SDG 13 is coming up again, and especially given that industry context of the growing impact of our sector as a whole. We wanted to dig into what TELUS has committed for climate action goals. So guided by our environmental management system, we have set a number of long-term environmental goals spanning our operations broadly, but the ones we wanted to call out were 1, our commitment to net carbon neutral operations by 2030, and our science-based targets, which are specifically to reduce scope 1 and 2 emissions by 46% by 2030, and for our scope 3 emissions, which includes purchased goods, capital goods, and the use of our products, a 75% reduction by 2030. And I'll pass it over to Kim to talk more about our opportunity.
Yes, our opportunity is the 5G technology. 5G is changing our world on all aspects of our lives with a faster network, with higher capacity and improved responsiveness. 5G could also help protect and preserve the environment. 5G technology with Internet of Things could help increase energy efficiency, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and enable more use of renewable energy. Concrete effects are that it can help reduce air and water pollution, minimize water and food waste, protect wildlife. So, however, this is the optimism speaking. Since 5G is a new technology, its long-term effects on the environment are still unknown. Its negative effects will come from its increase in the energy use, from manufacturing new infrastructure, and with the multiplication of new devices. So there's good chance that 5G will ultimately not be sustainable on the global scale. To give some examples, a recent report from Greenpeace states that China, this digital sector is on track to almost triple its energy consumption by 2035. And 5G is one of the main drivers of this increase. Another report published by Swedish telecoms company Ericsson in March last year warned that the switch to 5G would dramatically increase energy consumption, and if we're done the same way that the rollouts of 3G and 4G were, it will not help. So if the entire system is not energy efficient, 5G will ultimately not be sustainable. So our challenge, we define it as How might we make 5G operation net carbon neutral so we can strengthen climate resilience? Our solution is a global innovation ecosystem dedicated to environmentally sustainable 5G operation. Basically, our solution is to get together to achieve 5G sustainability. We will create a widespread collaboration with network providers, for sure, but also partners in the technology sectors, universities, Government of Canada, for example, a power producer, and an NGO. Stronger together, they say. So there's already a lot of research on 5G, and we'll also have new findings as the 5G is rolling out. So this ecosystem will create like an open space where we can share findings, innovation, ideas, and more. Moreover, TELUS Innovation Labs can be available for developing, testing, and proofing ideas. Our vision is really to create a hub that can benefit us all, because it will drive innovation for the network operator that can benefit the entire industry globally. It will drive improvement in the energy efficiency of 5G technology, thereby reducing energy costs and subsequently avoiding greenhouse gas emission. And it will drive future-proofing our business of connectivity for long-term resiliency.
So then in terms of next steps, our goal is to launch a pilot by year end. And so our focus will be first to really define that scope and a detailed go-to-market plan. Our second big milestone will be to select indicators. We've had some feedback and questions around, what is environmentally sustainable 5G and what do those operations look like? So really being a bit more specific on what that looks like and how we can measure it. And then again, for the pilot, really looking at potential pilot participants and who that collaboration model Kim articulated, who should be part of this first go at it, both on an internal and external realm. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Great presentation. Really interesting project. So now we'll go to the judges, and this time we'll have Simon kick it off for us.
Yeah, wow, so cool. I love that one. A few things that I liked. I like the background on the sector you had at the beginning, which was really clear for me because I don't know the sector that well. I like the link with goal 13. That was really nice. And also that you put it in that materiality context, the impact of the sector and, the climate change is a big thing, right? And it's going to get bigger. I love that you talked about scope 3 for IKEA where I work. Our biggest challenge is customers, right? Because that's where we actually have the biggest impact. If we can influence customers to use our products more sustainably, that's where we get the big bang. And I love the fact that you're trying to solve this through collaboration. I thought that was really strong because ultimately one provider alone won't change the whole 5G setup, right? Just maybe one reflection. When you're trying to set up an ecosystem like this, it can be quite slow and bureaucratic because you end up with more players. So one challenge for me would be absolutely needed an innovation ecosystem, but 5G is happening very quick and it's quite political as well. So how could you get a pre-competitive space with the likes of Google and others where you end up, doing this quickly and innovatively, and it doesn't just kind of slow down into a big talking shop? Because that's sometimes what happens with multi-stakeholder initiatives. So, but super exciting. The world needs this. So thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Maybe just I know it wasn't really a question, but right now TELUS is participating in some existing operator forums. And so there are some existing relationships, and Google and TELUS are in a 10-year partnership. So, luckily there's some foundations in place, but good call out, and definitely something we've been even just dealing with ourselves, being in such a big organization and trying to navigate the.
Could be cool to look at some of the multi-stakeholder initiatives, Stephanie, like the Forest Stewardship Council or the Better Cotton Initiative or the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, where industry came around a problem and defined a standard. And in some cases it worked really well, and in others it was quite slow and hasn't had much impact. So I think you need to balance that up.
Great. Thank you, Simon, for that. Mary, can we go to you next?
Sure, I think great work on research and data to validate your what you're working towards in the 5G sector. I was wondering, my question was somehow linked to the political implications of your solution, how you're going to navigate that. I think you addressed that already. So I think just great work so far.
Great. Thanks, Mary. And Helen, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, actually, Simon hit on a little bit of the question or the comment that I had, which is just about the size and the ambition behind what you're trying to do. I wonder if there is perhaps within, if there is an area or element that you can dive in a little bit more deeply, like a particular role or component where you own or control more of like how you can get it from A to B within that, and use it as an example, not only to demonstrate your commitment, but also to kind of set some clear measures and where you can control a few more of the parameters. Because I think the pace of it is going to be the biggest challenge that you have, and Simon called that out. Even some of the multi kind of stakeholder approaches, we're perhaps not dealing with the same speed that you're going to be seeing in your area. But I also think, I'd love also to see you work more into how to make it accessible and close that digital divide for more underserved populations or unserved populations as well. I think that would be a really cool area to look at. Yeah, which isn't really environmental, but it could be.
Well, it's funny, when we first started the program, our challenge was trying to look at specifically how do we bring our connectivity to communities most in need. But we found that there was quite a bit of work already underway between the Government of Canada and within our own teams to ensure that access was available. But still lots of opportunities, like you've both said, like the pace and the demand at which people need those services and better speeds is only growing. So. And we're a big country.
5G as being the new technology coming in wireless and wireline will help connect more people, more underserved communities across Canada for our.
Great. Well, thank you so much for the presentation and for the feedback. Really exciting project. And again, I'll just say this has been a common theme throughout these. There are people in the chat and the comments area who want to connect with you all. So look into that.